Does anybody talk to the band ever on this show? No, what's occasionally? All right, you guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You know the drummer's going to get it, though. Picked the wrong color shirt to wear today. Oh, you got stripes? He didn't read ahead. They sold you on the stripes, huh? Okay. What's going on out here? How do you follow Bill Shatner? You don't. You go 100 years in front of him. I am smart about a few things, and that was one of the few things that I got right. Be in front of Bill, don't follow him. And then today, what are you gonna do? What are we gonna do today? Do we want to just answer questions? I like to answer questions. Some people like to tell stories. I will say that, when was the last time I was here when Leonard was here? 3 years ago? And I remember being backstage, and he was in front, and I think he had a stool, or a very kind of minimalistic thing going on, and he was just waxing. And I thought, that is so cool. Leonard Nimoy is up there just telling stories. And I never met him. And to this day, I regret that I didn't kind of, when he came off the stage, that I didn't say, could I just say hello, Mr. Nimoy? And I so wish that I had. But obviously, he is with us forever. Oh, yeah. So. Let's talk. I'll take a cue from Carol Burnett and just talk to the people. Which side wants to start? Nobody has questions. This is so interesting. I'm kidding. Yes, go ahead.
As someone who's had a very extensive film career, from stage to television, the screen, what would you say is your favorite facet of working? I understand that would all be different. Do you have a preference of one, and if so, why?
Well, I'm basically a theater guy. That's where I started, and that's why I like these kinds of events so much, because we're here. We're all here together, and this moment, this however much time we have, will never be repeated again, ever. So there's something immediate and rewarding and gratifying and sharing that I love, and that's why that's my first love. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll go back and forth.
Hello.
Nice hat. Nice hat.
Thank you very much. I wanted to ask, when you entered Enterprise, what helped you influence the character Archer? Did your previous role with Sam in Quantum Leap help influence at all? I was wondering what was your influences for doing Captain Archer?
Well, I approach that role like I do pretty much everything, and I try and make it as unique and different and correct as I possibly can. They wrote a great character, I thought, on the page. There was a certain kind of, Sam Beckett had a naivete about him, but that was because he was a child genius, like myself. Sarcastic laughter, I like it. We know you. We know you're not a child genius. But because we'd never been out in space before, there was a built-in naivete to my crew, to the experience, to the choices that we made, to the no rules, to the Wild West, to all of that stuff. That you could liken that to Sam Beckett, traveling in time, doesn't know what he's going to do, where he's going to end up, and how do you approach it. You have to basically improvise your way through your life, which we all do to a certain extent, but there's a who knows what's around the next corner aspect of both of those two series that you could say they shared. I like that this guy, I always liked him because he was complicated, he was a little messed up psychologically, he thought he was living his father's dream to a certain extent, he had grown up inside the program, which we never really got to explore that much other than a fist fight in a bar to see who would get to be the first pilot. But short of that, I like that he was complicated. I like that he made mistakes. I like that we all learned together. And of course, I love the fact that halfway through the series, we searched out and found the Zindi and dealt with all of that, and that was just a bigger mantle than anybody could have assumed. Going in, we didn't know that was what the show was going to be about. So I love that idea. It sadly was informed by the events of 9/11, but we took that and we, as science fiction does in this franchise, in the best of the sense, mirrors events that happen on the planet and many things that are still happening on the planet. And we remove them from the present day, we move them either forward or backwards, and we can examine them in a different light, but the same issues.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Scott.
What are you wearing?
It's a Niners jersey from Beat Space 9.
I accept that answer.
Anyways, first off, I want to say I'm a huge fan of you as Captain Archer.
Thank you.
And also as Sam in Quantum Leap. So
Thank
my
you.
question's geared more towards Quantum Leap.
Go ahead.
In a couple of your episodes, such as Good Morning Peoria, you did this pretty hysterical laugh, and I was wondering if you could repeat that on stage. When you were DJing, and also another episode where you trade places with Al.
Yes, I did a hysterical laugh. Could
Yeah.
you give me a small sample of it? Give me a little bit.
It's like,
You mean Woody Woodpecker? Oh, young people. In the olden days, they had people that drew cartoons on paper. And each piece of paper, the cartoon moved a little bit. And I'm kidding you. I'm kidding you. Do you know who Woody Woodpecker was?
yeah, I do.
Okay. I don't mean to embarrass you. You mean, is that it? Did I do that? Did I do that when I went back? Did I do that with
Yeah,
Al?
when you were DJing and Good Morning Peoria, and then also when you were all happy because you got Al's place as a hologram.
Wow, I don't remember the second one. The first one, everything I did in Good Morning Peoria was my version of ripping off Robin Williams in Good Morning Vietnam, which is what he does, Genius in Everything, did. And so I can't take a lot of credit except that his style of stream of consciousness and his ability to just go from one thought. I only met him one time in my life at the Improv in the 80s in Los Angeles, late at night, and he was on a roll and just was amazing and funny and present, and so I took that as an opportunity to kind of pay a small homage to him. I don't know if he ever did Woody Woodpecker, but I couldn't do half the stuff that he did, so I did that in that whole character in that episode, which was a really good episode. I enjoyed that a lot. Elvis Presley. Wow. Chubby Checker was on that episode. You know who Chubby Checker is?
Yeah.
How old are you?
17.
Awesome. And you got a Niner, you got the Niners thing. How long have you been watching all of this stuff?
Maybe a couple of years.
Wow. What have you been doing with your life before that? Because you had to stop everything to catch up on all this stuff. Have you watched a lot of the Quantum Leap stuff?
I'm almost finished with it.
And have you watched all of these franchises?
Yeah, I think I have a little bit of Next Generation left, but other than that, I've seen them all.
How are your grades in school?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. I bet they are. I bet they are. Thank you for the questions. Those are awesome. Thank you. That's a great uniform. It's vintage. I've worn a couple of uniforms like that in some other movies and other shows. Hello.
Hi, it's really a privilege to meet you, and thank you very much for being here.
It's a privilege to meet you and everybody else that's here on this great weekend and 50th anniversary of this show.
I also have a question about Quantum Leap, and it's a brilliant show and to show human impact and compassion, and you really went to No Man Had Gone Before in that show. Like, I mean, you won a beauty contest, you delivered baby, and so last time when we Chinese fans of this show discussed it, and we realized it's very hard to present this content without making it like a farce or cheap comedy. But you brilliant guys, you make it. It's humorous. It certainly has absurdity, yet it's serious and very, very deep. So we kind of have some clue, but we really want to know from an insider's point of view about how indeed you achieve all this.
That's a good question.
Thank you.
I guess Quantum Leap had and all of science fiction. You either buy into it or you don't. And I'm a person that's been a fan of science fiction my whole life, so I believe everything. And if it hasn't happened yet, I want to believe that it can happen. So it's easy for me to pick up a script and go like, oh yeah, I believe that. I could do that. I could play that. I believe, I've done a lot of science fiction, and there are always different challenges, but I always went in the room for auditions believing that what they had written could happen, did happen, I could be that guy. So I never went in commenting on the material because I'm a believer. And maybe that's helped me get all these different science fiction shows that I've done. Sometimes I forget, oh yeah, I forgot I did Invaders and I did Lord of Illusions, and those all had science fiction aspects. And then I did this and I did that, and I did one of my failed pilots. There were many, but there were some. I played a man who was a scientist who it was called. What did it end up being called? It doesn't matter because it was a failure. But I was a scientist, and I was doing an experiment, and my body got mixed up with this robot who had all these special abilities, and that those abilities came out in me for the rest of the our show that existed whenever I was in danger or in jeopardy. So if I needed my arm to become a robot, it was like RoboCop before RoboCop. So, but I used the body parts that I needed. So I did that. I did I-Man, which was a Disney movie that I did in 1985 before, when there were Sunday night Disney movies, if anybody remembers those. And that was a guy who was a cab driver in Houston, and there was a NASA truck going back to Nassau that had space gas in it, and it had a crash, and I had my kid and my dog with me, and I went over and rescued the driver, but I inhaled the green gas coming out of the tank, and I had new powers, and they couldn't kill me except that they put me in darkness. Because whatever the powers were, the only thing that could kill me was the loss of light. So I got shot, and I got electrocuted, and I got drowned, and I kept coming back to life. And those are kind of weird things to say. Now play that, and that's your part. Go play that. So I just, I kind of pretended like I got electrocuted, and then I came back to life. And it was, I'm sure, I haven't watched it in a long time. It's probably terrible, but I believe that you could do that. So that's how you do it. And then you can do spoof versions of it. You can do Galaxy Quest, and there's a new thing. Yeah, right? And I just bumped into my friend Clancy Brown on the plane last week, coming back from New Orleans, and he just finished the new Con movie. Have you all heard about that? Right? Is it called Comic-Con or SuperCon? And it's about this, but it's fictitious and it takes place in the 70s. And he was telling me all about that. So you can make those kind of movies, and or you can help create ideas and bring to life visions that end up manifesting themselves with people in space and people flying and people on our cell phones and all the other wonderful things that people keep dreaming of, and inspiring people to be engineers and to be part of these industries that bring all this stuff. So I've enjoyed being a part of that, and that's a great question. and a kind of answer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just to make me a believer.
Okay, I'm glad we made you believe it. Hello to everybody in China.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but because you don't have so many days in your life. But
So in China, you have a lot of fans, and they call themselves Bakula cultist Far East team.
is this in Canada? Did you say in Canada?
No, in China.
In China. Oh, okay. I thought you jumped in Canada, and I thought, wait a minute, you're an imposter, woman. Thank you. Yes, sir.
It's an honor to meet you, Mr. Bakula.
Thank you.
I thought you should have gotten several Emmys for Quantum Leap.
Oh, thanks.
And I had a question about a specific episode, the one called Lee Harvey Oswald, and I was wondering how you mentally prepared to get into that role of such a dark historical character.
Well, that was a weird episode in a lot of reasons. For a lot of reasons, it was Don Belisario's response to the JFK movie that Oliver Stone had made, because he hated that movie, and he's not a believer in any of those conspiracy theories. So he wanted to he had an opportunity to do his version of it. I've done a few roles in my life, not very many, but I've done roles where you've had to go to a darker place, you have to open yourself up to take in whatever you can experience from the universe, from the energy around you, and then put it back out into a role. I absolutely loved that episode, and I loved the cast of that episode. Where everybody was so good in it. It was a challenge. The weirdest part was recreating that moment. Recreating the book conservatory. Is that what it's called? Conservatory? Depository. Conservatory. I was going to go with observatory. I've got too many Tories in my brain. I saw Hamilton, so I'm messed up with the Tories. Alexander Hamilton. What a show. Sorry, I digress. I left. I don't really. So, it's a challenge, and it's a welcome challenge. It was a welcome. I mean, the thing about Quantum is that I was never those people, but I was affected by what happened to those people and in their environment, and you can't help but get sucked in. I mean, that's the reality. If you really think about what Quantum Leap was about, and if you said, well, I'm going to go live in that person's house for a week, and whatever happens in that house, it won't affect me because I'm not really that person. It's impossible, because we're affected by what happens to us. We're affected by what happens to the people around us, and how do we participate? In so many situations on a daily basis. So I was deeply affected by that, playing that part, putting my eyeball to the scope and looking down at somebody's head. It's uncomfortable to talk about. It's uncomfortable to kind of go back and imagine, but I thought it was a very effective, very powerful episode, very successful in that sense, and just one of the great examples of what that show was about. Still entertaining, still interesting, but underneath it there was a big, powerful message, I thought. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello, Porthos. You're standing on all twos. We met earlier. I know this guy. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
And you kept it on. I'm very impressed. Have you taken it off since I saw you?
Yeah.
How long?
Hour.
Okay. I said, is it hot in there? And he went, yeah. But you're awesome to have worn it. Thank you very much. And Porthos mostly appreciates you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask, I'm a fan of Enterprise.
Thank you.
So, I'd like to know if Porthos, the actual dog, if he was like hard to work with, and also what his name actually was.
Well, I don't know how to break this to you. Porthos was a she. and her name was Prada. And that pretty much tells you all you ever need to know about life. My work here is done. I'm not going to drop it. No, she was very, very well trained. She was a movie star and had just come off a big hit movie and was treated very nicely. She was, you know, I've worked with so many different animals, kids and animals, in my career, and she was one of the easiest to work with. We didn't ask a whole lot of her in terms of what she needed to do. She did need to run when we landed on a planet very early on, I think episode 2, and we landed on the planet so that Porthos could pee by a tree. This becomes a problem when he is a she. You follow me? Unless it's a boy puppy. Because it takes a while for there's that moment in a boy puppy's life when the leg goes up, and that's kind of their manhood. It's their crossing over time. So you see Porthos run to the woods near a tree, and then it cuts back to us going, "Oh, look at Porthos, just peeing on that tree." And we're lying, but because unless somehow, no, I can't even figure that out. But he was a great and powerful dog. Thank you, and thanks for wearing that today. Here's the future of the cons. Well and safe. Hello.
Hello. I hope I can get through this without crying.
You can, and you will. If you don't, then I won't.
And every time I'm near you, I start to cry. It's because I'm so excited to be by someone who has done all that you have done and still stayed real.
Thank you.
My question is about the very last episode of Quantum Leap, where at the end of it, it comes up on the screen, and he never got home.
See, you're going to make everybody cry. Now stop this.
And so I just wondered why couldn't the writer had just said, and he got home to his wife. It wouldn't have taken any more writing.
Actually, we had run out of money, and to put that cryon up on the screen, we had no money left. Oh my gosh. The short answer is this. That episode was not designed to be the last episode. It was designed to be, and I will say that Don Belisario should have won, again, many Emmys, for his writing in television for years. Don doesn't play the games, though, so he doesn't get invited to that party. But that episode we didn't know if we were canceled. You know, today, in this day and age, everybody, you know, you get canceled and you get a 2-hour movie, or everybody knows. The same happened with Men of a Certain Age. We didn't know we were going to be canceled. We knew that we were going to be canceled on Enterprise, but kind of at the end, and then so they had to jam a bunch of years together and, you know, make me an admiral. And, but Don, we didn't know we were canceled. Then he had to write an episode but we thought we might be. So if we got canceled, would there be a future for the show? Would it be a movie of the week back when they made movies of the week? Would it be a feature film? Would it come back as a miniseries? Would it come back next season for season 5.5? So he wrote an episode, if you go back and look at it, that allows all of those possibilities to happen. So, listen, when one of my sons was 9 years old and we started showing Quantum Leap and we got to the end, he was bawling his head off. He said, I can't, he was so mad. I start crying thinking about it right now. I can't believe you didn't get home. And he kind of just, he put his thing down and just like walked away. He was so, yeah. I like to think, and I say this all the time, but I like to think that Sam's still out there, still doing good stuff. That's what makes me happy. That's how I get past it.
Thank you. We love you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, yes, I'd like to thank you for both Quantum Leap and Enterprise. Quantum Leap was an amazing show. You were wonderful in the role, and when you got Captain Archer, I was like, yes. In Quantum Leap, you had a large number of musical episodes, and you have a fantastic singing voice. I wondered what your favourite episode was, and an additional question would be, do you think you could have got away with a musical episode of Enterprise as well?
Probably my two favorite musical memories. No. I was so lucky to get to do a lot of music on that show, so I had a bunch. Certainly singing Imagine for the Leap Home, that was great. And the whole La Mancha episode was wonderful. That's one of my favorite shows, and so those are two of my favorite. And we talked about doing a musical episode on Enterprise. So that was in the works. But we never got there, as you all know. But I would have loved to have had figured out what that might have been in space.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Several of your cast members have said that whenever there was any kind of physicality in the script, you always wanted it to be Archer because you like to have him get beat up. You wanted to be doing the diving, doing the running, getting shot, getting punched, bruised, battered, beaten. Is that true? And what was the most extreme thing you wanted to do that they wouldn't let you? And what was the most extreme thing you got away with?
Well, there's an implication there that I liked it. Is that what
That's what they suggested.
Are they saying that about me behind my back? To you directly in front of all these people? Hoping that no one would say anything to me? Yeah. I'll get them. We'll see who's in the sequel. Here's, an interesting thing happened at the beginning of Enterprise. The very first fight that I was involved in, we were talking about what was going to happen and what the effects, and I said, well, I'm going to have, I got hit here, so I have a bloody nose, and this and that. All of a sudden, there was this, we got to make some phone calls. I said, well, about what? They said, well, captains don't bleed. And I said, well, this captain is going to bleed. People bleed. It wasn't, we were trying to create a different kind of world, not a sterile kind of event. I bled a lot. I think the dumbest thing I did, it was after the fact, but I was running down a plank, basically like a runway in a ship, and they were blowing pyrotechnics off as I ran by them, 20, 30, 40 of them. And I was in the middle of running down, and the thought, which was stupid also, because it doesn't help you, the thought occurred to me that I hope that they do this correctly. Because they're blowing up bombs next to me, and I hope I'm just past them and not in front of them when the bombs go off in front of me. Happily, we did it one take, and that was it, and we moved on. But I remember having that thought, which is a terrible thought. It's like saying, I hope I don't fall. I hope I don't, and it doesn't help you. Is that what that means? I'm done? Put a fork in me? I didn't hear Shatner get dinged off the stage. Anyway, I did a lot of stuff. My idea about stunts has always been, don't do anything that will shut the production down, because then I put everybody out of work. So I try to do things that I do a lot, I still do a lot, but I try to be careful. I have great stunt people. I've been very fortunate. I should have not started talking about this yet. in the years. I've had a broken foot and some cuts and things, but nothing ever big. And I've been very well taken care of. So I've been very fortunate that way. Thank you. What was the ding? Nobody's copping to the ding? That was like did everybody hear the ding?
No.
Have you heard it before today? You people are confused. I'm going to keep going. I'm not. Yes.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Great, it's fantastic to be here, my first ever con. So.
Really? You picked a good one to come to.
Thank you.
Yes. She in 50 years.
Hey, yeah.
Okay.
I'm a huge Enterprise fan, also Quantum Leap. But one of the greatest things that I loved about Enterprise from day one was that it was all about not just exploring and be the first ones out there, but figuring it out along the way. And it was fantastic to watch you as a character, but also the characters of the crew grow and mature along the way through making mistakes. I'm a student of leadership, and it was great to just watch that happen over the 4 seasons, culminating the way it did in the final episode. Now this week, Connor has said, I'm dead. There's no, he was very emphatic about that, I'm dead.
Paul from the Beatles? Yeah.
Yeah.
I did, I am. Sorry.
So, what I wanted to find out, or what I wanted to ask you, with the new series coming out, would you be interested in reprising Archer if it was...
Oh, absolutely. Brian and I were talking about this a couple weeks ago. Yeah. No. Calm down. Everybody calm down. It happens to be on the network that I'm on right now, so that's a good thing. People say that in our business all the time. Love to have you on. Can't wait to work with you. I am very, very excited about him helming this new franchise. I did see some pictures of things that I can't talk about. I saw some images of makeup that I can't talk about. They were awesome. If you know his other shows, if you know who he is visually, times 10. That's all I'm going to say. So yes, I would love to be on it if asked, and we'll see what happens. I can be on it.
You can?
Yes.
Fantastic, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. 4 more minutes? 4 more, so I should do 1 question a minute so I can get 4 more questions. So talk less and answer more. I mean, yes.
Hi, Mr. Bakula.
Hello.
Oftentimes, Patrick Stewart always gets recognized as...
I'm sorry, who?
Patrick Stewart. William Shatner always gets recognized as Captain Kirk. How often on the streets do you get recognized as Captain Archer, as opposed to, say, like Quantum Leap?
All the time. I get Archer all the time. Yeah. All the time, yes.
All right.
Happy, yes. Okay, good. That took 12 seconds. Go.
Okay, I'm a dog lover. I have 3 basset hounds at home. Did you get emotionally attached to Porthos, and do you know if Porthos is still around?
I don't know if Porthos is still around. I was not allowed to get emotionally attached to Porthos.
That answers the question. Thank you.
Okay, she wouldn't allow it. She wasn't having any of it. Go.
One of my very favorite episodes on Enterprise was Phil. How did you really feel about it in real life if that happened today? Do you feel it's right to make a symbiotic just to have one person saved?
I have 4
When he had to die, it was terrible.
It was terrible.
Every time you see it.
Well, I think that speaks to all of our desires to keep our loved ones around us.
Yeah.
And not let them go. But that also then speaks to a larger issue of what happens when you go. And where do you go? Can you kill energy?
No.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time with us.
Pleasure.
Love both shows. My question was, when Dean Stockwell came on to Quantum Leap,
yes,
did you or the writers ever consider having you or say, oh boy?
You mean when he came on to Enterprise?
Right.
We did. We talked about it, and I don't know if it actually ended up. But
It didn't.
It didn't.
I waited.
We talked about it. It was enough that he was there. I think that was enough.
Oh, it was great,
That was
yeah.
enough of a wink. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We didn't. I've done it on other shows though.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh yeah. You have to look. You have to watch everything I've ever done. I was so nice to the band in the beginning, and now they're turning on me. Go.
No, sorry, I didn't like Enterprise when it first came out. I love that you were in it, but as an infantry marine, I couldn't follow every single episode. So it wasn't until it came out on DVD that I was actually able to binge watch, and that's when I absolutely loved it.
Thank you.
But I was wondering, what are your thoughts on going on an episodic version of the show versus the story arc, which made it so much more difficult to follow if you missed an episode?
Well, as actors and as an actor, I love story arc because it just gives you more time to. I know you got to wrap up. You got to wrap up an hour. You got to wrap up a 2-hour movie. Everything has to come to an end. But there's something nice about having story arcs where you get to really expand and like do little mini series within. I always felt like we had an opportunity. Nobody else had ever done that in the franchise, so we got to do that, and I thought that was fun and unusual. We had 5 species, so that broke it up into fifths at least of Zindies. So I'm mixed about it. I know it's hard to follow sometimes. If you can't be there every week, then you're. But now we've got Blu-ray, we've got DVRs, we got all that stuff.
Yeah, much more successful than this.
Thank you, thank you. Here comes the last question. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.